Okay, welcome to my channel. This is the Practical Engineering Solutions channel, and I have a couple of tips for model railroaders. I'd like to show two of them to you. One involves setting up routes and identifying where the turnouts are, and the second one is to identify cars. So let's get started. So the middle of last year I started using JMRI. The reason I did this was initially to control turnouts. I have about 60 to 65 turnouts on the layout, and I wanted to organize them and, more importantly, be able to trigger them without a lot of aggravation and trying to find out which turnout went where and so on. So here's a list of them in JMRI. This is only some of them. The rest are down here. And you see, I tried to identify them as best I could with names. However, I started thinking if I just wanted to do a simple one turnout switch, or switch one turnout, it'd be a lot to start up JMRI, get it going, and figure out which turnout it was. That was the first problem. The second problem was, if I do routing, and I wanted to do routes, how to identify which turnouts go to which route that I'm creating. So I decided to put together a map. In this map I can have a list of turnouts, and those turnouts, if I have a simple one or two turnouts I have to turn on, I don't even have to bring up JMRI. I could use the DCS52 controller that I have to switch one turnout, or I could even use, for a simple route, I could use the DCS52. But I needed to know where those were, and when I started out identifying this, I had to switch each turnout and figure out what the number was and where it was in the chart, in what its location was, and so on. So I decided to come up with a map, and this is what I came up with. This is a map of one small part of the layout, and this map shows me the configuration of the layout, but also the turnout number that's identified in JMRI, 112, 113, 110, and so on. And obviously, like any layout diagram, it shows which way the turnouts can be thrown or closed. For example, this one here, 117, is closed this way and thrown that way, and same for 116. So for example, if I wanted to set up a route or just do a couple of simple turnout changes to get a locomotive to this part of yard 1, this is yard 1, this is section 1 of the turnout, then all I have to do is make sure that 100 is thrown, and 102, this is 102 here, that is thrown too, and then the locomotive will go down this path. And it's the same for any of them. So for a more complex situation, like this one, where we have a more complex yard, it's easy to also describe the turnouts and for a routing. And you can see that to get to 4 you have to switch certain turnouts to be thrown or closed, depending on where you're going in the turnout. So that's it. This has been very helpful and very handy, and it makes it easier when you're first setting up a route on JMRI, and again, it also makes it easier if you're just switching one turnout and you just want to switch that one turnout. Maybe you don't use JMRI, maybe you use the controller, the DCS52. I'm not quite finished with the entire layout yet, identifying them all, but once I do it, it's done, and I can add more routes. These are just PowerPoint slides, same as I did the layout if you look at my other videos, and they're laminated, and I put two back to back. So if you want to see, this is table 1 actually, and this is yard 2 on the back. So it's easy to identify. And you can put some names into JMRI too to correspond with this. Like this would be yard 2, route 1, yard 2, route 4, and so on. Okay, so let's take a look at the second tip I have regarding rolling stock. Okay, here's a tip I have about rolling stock. I have a bunch of rolling stock, like most people do, and what I'm trying to do is convert a lot of them to metal wheel sets. I've got mostly plastic wheel sets on them, and I also need to weigh some of them. Some of them are pretty light, so I need to put weights on them. So if you look over in the distance here, you can see a lot of the rolling stock on this yard, and it's there's quite a few cars. Okay, so I'm always trying to figure out which ones I've got metal wheels on already and the ones I haven't done already. So I came up with this idea, and it seems like it's going to work pretty well. I thought about the idea of putting fluorescent paint that's only visible under ultraviolet on the cars, making a little dot. And I bought these pens here, and they're only about $7. They're on Amazon. They're only about $7, and what they have is they're all the same color. The colors of the outside of the pens don't mean anything. But you just take off the pen like this, and you put a mark on the car. And the convention I put is 1 dot means that it needs metal wheels. 2 dots means it needs metal wheels and to be weighed. So I put a dot there and a dot here. And you can even put a dot on the sideboard here where the marking is. So I do that when it needs both of those, because I had originally put the dots, I put white paint on the bottom of the car, and I'm going, what am I doing? I'm not going to lift the car off the track every time I want to know whether it needs wheels or weights in it, metal wheels or weights. That's kind of a pain. So I tried this pen method, and it works. It's very hard to see in normal light, but if you put a fluorescent ultraviolet light on it, I don't know if you can see that, it lights up fairly well. And then I started thinking, by the way, this is a ultraviolet flashlight I got off of Amazon too. It's got about 50 LEDs in it. Works pretty well. Then I started thinking, why not use some common household materials? So I stole some of my wife's laundry detergent. This happens to be Arm & Hammer Sensitive Skin, and this works even better. Now it's fluorescing based on the phosphates in the detergent. There's not many phosphates anymore in detergent, but this one seems to work. Yours might even work better. So this is a sample of it in this cup here, liquid before it's dried. And you can see here, it lights up. I don't know if you can see this, but it lights up, well, you can't see it that well on the camera, but it lights up bright blue. This one's after it's dried, and it's green, and that's after it's dried. But blue, it's that way. So what I do is I just take a toothpick like this, stick it in the liquid, and then put a dot on here, or 2 dots. And then let it dry completely, and you'll see that it really lights up. Now I'm going to turn off these bright lights I got overhead and show you in a dimmer light. Okay, I don't know if you see that any better, but it really lights up a lot better. Probably can't see this because the camera's not that sensitive to ultraviolet. But trust me, I see 3 dots on here. And the dot I put on the end, that's pretty bright too. Under normal light, it's pretty hard to see. So what I would do is I marked all the cars that need upgrades with metal wheels and weights. And then after I do them, I just wipe off the dots. You can almost wipe them off with your finger because this is just laundry detergent, and even a damp paper towel will just wipe them completely off and you won't see anything. So that's my tip. That way I can turn the lights down and identify pretty quickly all the cars that need updates. If you got cars that might need new couplers too, you could put a third dot. And that way you'll know which ones need the weights, the couplers, or the metal wheels. And like I said, I don't think I'll use these pens. These pens, by the way, do have a light in them too. The other end of the pen, you can see here, has a light. So you can use that pen also to identify them. But you got to wait for it to dry, but then after it dries, it's pretty good. So if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.